There's a lot of truth in the old saying, green on green yields black and blue. Nonetheless, it's pretty clear that a lot of people have chosen to ignore that. Consider this statistic. The largest demographic of people adopting wild Mustangs are first-time horse owners. What could possibly go wrong? We have a somewhat similar situation here. Ryan, whom I'm going to be working with, is a very green rider. He has chosen to buy a 3-year-old that had no riding at all. He has put some rides on the horse and has made some progress. He's also hit some problems. He's asked for help. I'm here in the spirit of the Arthur Ashe quote that says, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. This video's about helping this young man from where he is now to possibly getting on a path that is safer and more effective. Stick around, let's see how it goes. Only thing I would say equipment-wise is your back girth is really, really loose. I know that you don't pull this up like a front girth, but if you think about it, suppose he kicked up under his belly at a fly. He could put his foot right through there. And that can be a wreck. Now, you might say, well, how did you figure that out? Well, because I had one do it. So that really doesn't have any tension on it. Some people think they can't tolerate that. He may think that for a little bit, but pretty quick he'll get used to it. I don't think that's too tight. You can get a whole hand down underneath there. He may react to it a little bit at first. So tell me what he has done when you ride him. And speak up because this thing's a little spotty.
He mostly doesn't have a sense of direction, but we determined that the reason for that was kind of just like a lack of respect, like on the ground. So that's why we went back to lunging him with the line, because I was free lunging him a lot.
Yeah.
And when you get on him, sometimes, if he's not willing, he will back up a little bit and flip his ears, and that's when the bucking will start. Okay,
so he does buck some. More of a kick up?
It's mostly the back end just coming up. But the more pressure at that point, when he's in that mode, the more pressure you put on him, the more intense it gets, and then it'll turn into like full bucking.
Okay. So right now, I like to use a little sequence when I get involved with a horse or horse and rider combination. The first segment to me is observe. Don't offer too much. We did offer a little bit in here because we observed what he was doing and came up with some thoughts to get him facing up and coming in a little bit better. But the second phase is to analyze what we're seeing. So we observe it like we're just a camera, like that camera that's shooting this. And we just look at those mental pictures and say, what am I seeing and what would I do with it? So what I was seeing was a horse that maybe could have been freed up a little bit, more comfortable looking into you. I have nothing against lunging a horse on a line. I'm not sure you need to all that much. When you use a line, do you use a regular long lunge line?
Yeah, I have like a 20-foot one with the popper on the end.
Because I tend to use maybe a 14-foot line and keep them maybe a little closer than some people do, but that's all a matter of choice. Why don't you just lead him up a few feet? I just want to make sure he doesn't react when that hind girth feels a little different to him. Yeah, and that's not going to cause any problems. It's just once in a while you'll have one that's ticklish, and it's better to find out about that before you get on him.
Yeah, I've had it tighter like that.
Yeah.
But I was just told that some people, especially here, say that it should be kept a little looser.
Well, and if people are telling you to keep it looser, that's their opinion, that's okay. And if you like that, do that. I'm just saying I wouldn't. I also know enough about the YouTube gods that if I had you riding around there with a hind girth you could throw a cat under, they probably would say, are you trying to get this guy in trouble? Because it's not nice when they step up through there.
It even gets nastier if they're kicking, like bucking. Then all of a sudden they're caught, they're scared, they tear your saddle up and or fall down.
I never saw the point of having it on there if it's going to be that loose anyway.
Right. Now the way it is now, where it will help you is things like going down a steep hill, or if your horse kicks up and bucks. What I've always felt was, I don't mind if my horse bucks me off. There's nothing I can do about that, but I damn sure don't want my saddle to buck me off. And that will see how that catches the rear of the saddle? So your saddle doesn't give you that extra toss. Because your saddle should be a safe zone, not an ejection seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are some original thoughts. Now I'm just going to go back outside a little bit and watch you ride him a little bit. Or maybe I'll just stand here. I'll just lean on the circus pole here. Now, your mom mentioned when she texted my daughter that he can be a little tricky to get on.
Yeah.
It's just a little.
I think it just depends.
Little impatient. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Now he may be good because we've been piddling with him some too.
He likes to hold his breath, so.
Listen, check your girth every chance you get. Yep. It costs nothing and can do a lot of good.
He's smart. He always holds his breath when I cinch,
Yeah. It doesn't take him long to figure out that part.
Isn't soft yet, the base.
Yeah. And that's really good to get him soft. Let me just show you one little thing in that regard. Instead of fishing on him, just take your hand around here and anchor it down. See how he gave?
Oh yeah, there we go.
So give him a fixed point to come to. And instead of, when you're doing this, you're going to him. When you do this, it's his choice to come to you. And he'll study on it for a while. Right now, he said I was too easy a date the first time.
Honestly, looks like he's ready for a nap.
Well, yeah, and it's not real comfortable for him because he's nearly there. So he's leaning on it, but I'm going to let him figure this out for himself. And he'll make you think that he'll never come around, but then he does. And the nice thing is when you do it that way, see where his head stays? Mm-hmm. In other words, you don't want that rebound effect. Now, true fact, all of that, both sides, should have been done before he ever got on his back.
Okay.
Just for safety, because if they don't have that degree of give and they stampede off, the natural and the right thing to do is get their head around. But if that's a new idea and they're already stampeding off for the skyline, like you said, it's too late. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch you do things, and I may comment as we go. But the nice thing is they usually get a lot quicker over time. And you do it with both sides. We'll cheat a little bit. We'll go ahead and try it on that right side, doing it that way. Just anchor there. You just want him to weigh nothing. Yeah, that which it looked like he did. You just should weigh nothing. Okay, I'm going to get out of your way, and I'll just keep yapping at you. There you go. Now that tells you something about your horse right there.
I'm listening now.
Yeah, well, and he's a quick learner.
Who knows? Right.
Yeah, and that's okay to tip his nose like that. It'll keep you safe if he would really go off.
That's what he does. When I go to get up on him, he likes to walk around.
Yeah. But just hang in there. Just hang in there until he quits doing that.
He's gonna lift my leg up.
Yeah, he's pretty dedicated to that. Well, why don't we do something a little different? Whenever you have a problem, go back a step.
Okay.
So you tip his nose just very slightly. You don't really need to have anything but a little contact. Take your knee up, just to where you're raising your knee. You know, just to where you're starting to get in that position. And then start doing that. And then start doing that.
Okay.
Instead of, forget the end objective. Break it down into tiny little pieces to where you can do this, and you ought to be able to, which he's fine with. But sometimes they're a little frightened of you being there. He's not. Yeah,
I
so
did that a bunch with him.
you've got that out of him then. But just take that in the smallest possible chunks. Yeah. And if that begins to get a bad response, back it up just a tiny bit and do it 2 or 3 times, 1 step less.
Okay. Seems like he's getting a little better.
Yeah. And he didn't learn to walk off in one session. He won't learn to stand in one session either. But I'd like to get him better. What we're doing today, Ryan, is we're not establishing any end result. We're just looking for a good starting point, you know, to start to move him a little further than where he is now.
Absolutely. You think I ought to try and get on it now?
I would, how about you just raise your whole foot up like you're going to get on him and don't get on him. Don't even put it in the stirrup. We're going to have you like a ballet dancer till it's all said and done. And I will say this, and it's just, there's some real advantages to being shorter like you are because you're going to fit more horses. Your balance is probably better. You're not top heavy. But there's a few things that the long legs help you with, you know. And when I was, your age, which was a couple weeks ago, I could really almost kick up over a horse's backside. And
I got to get a little spring going.
Yeah. And so he just needs, that's his world. That's his world. He just has to accept it. So I used to have trouble when I was starting horses for other people. I'd think they were perfect to get on, and then I'd have some lady come that was 5'1", and she'd be having to sort of get herself arranged, and the horse would say, "This ain't right." So we had to work through that.
You always have a mounting block with you.
No. And how old are you, 26? Mm-hmm. Okay, at 26, if you're talking mounting block, I'm going to bitch slap you. Now just go ahead and see if you can get your foot up there and kind of touch the stirrup at least. Just touch it. There you go. Now start it all over again. Now when you go to get up, the odds are he's going to move around. Unless you think he's going to flat buck you off, just keep his head tipped a little bit and you're a trick rider. You're just going to ride off the side of him. Get yourself projected over the other side as quick as you can to balance up. And after a bit, he'll say, "Jesus, God, man, get on. That'd be more comfortable." And then it's all good. Either that or he dumps you in the gravel here.
We'll give her a whirl.
There you go. Now, big important thing. Sit there. You don't smoke, do you?
No, I don't.
Well, let's pretend you're smoking a cigarette. Sit there, smoke a cigarette, pick your nose, whatever you got in mind that you could spend a little time on, because sitting there for a minute, You know, check your email or check your text or something. Because standing there with roots, after you get on, builds the mountain. So, there you go. That could almost be a separate episode right there, you know. So.